That part of your book stood out to me because my father was tyrannical.
Mm.
I didn't live with my father, but my parents grew up with each other. Our grandparents grew up with each other, and he literally lived like three houses down. So
Okay.
my father was close. I was close to my
Okay.
and I saw the way he treated people. Like I couldn't go to like kids functions because of who my dad was, because people knew him in the neighborhood as being
Okay.
that, and he liked it though.
He
He
liked
he
it.
loved it. He loved
Yeah.
tormenting people, and that's why he was in prison for a good part of my
Mm.
childhood. But
Mm.
I stayed away from him for a long time. And I remember when I was in high school, when I was 14, he got out of prison and he stayed out of prison. And I never went to go stay at his house. And he asked my mom one time, he's like, hey, why doesn't Darron want to come and stay with me? She
Yeah.
knew why, but she didn't tell him. She said, "Oh no, you ask him yourself." So he called me, and I told him the truth. I said, I don't like the way you speak to the women you're with. I don't like the way you speak to my siblings. I feel
Yeah.
like you show out for more for people who don't matter, and I feel like I'm becoming a man, and you would try to prevent me from becoming the man I want to be.
Uh-huh.
That's how I felt as a kid. I told him that.
Mhm.
He went off. He went off. But his girlfriend at the time told me later, it's like, he cried after that. And
Mhm.
for the longest time I really had like animosity towards my father. But one day he called me when I was like 21, and he was complaining about his dad. And my dad was like in his
Mhm.
40s and 50s. And I thought to myself, I don't want to be a grown man upset and complaining about my dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when I was 22, I actually had a man-to-man conversation with my father. I told him how I felt, the things he did. And he just said, I'm sorry. I wasn't a good father. And then once he said that, I was surprised he said that. I thought he was going to cuss me out. But once he said that, I felt like, first of all, I felt like I couldn't be mad at him anymore because he apologized. And then I felt immature to even be upset with him. Because when
Mm.
he told me he wasn't a good father, part of me felt like, nah, you were the best father that you
That
could
you
be,
could have been.
that you could have
Yeah.
been. And
Yeah.
I feel like I don't feel like a lot of guys get to that. I have a lot of friends. I have older men that I look up to. I don't feel like a lot of guys,
Yeah.
they get stuck at like this battle between them and their father.
Yeah. Yeah. Even without the the unkind, let's say, behavior that your father showed, even without that dynamic, sons have to break free of the power of their fathers and their mothers.
Uh,
Um, I'm not going to get. Should I even mention women and what they have to do?
I think
Men,
okay.
in order to achieve gender identity for themselves as legitimately powerful, not tyrannical,
Yeah.
but their own centered power, have to they have to break the power over them that they imagine their parents have, whether the parents are good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
It still has to be done.
Mm-hmm.
And so yours, from what you're saying, was particularly dramatic,
Mm-hmm.
uh, dramatic as well as traumatic.
Yes.
But even people that don't have that level of drama about it still have to break free of the power of the parents
Yeah.
in order to be themselves. I'm talking about men here. Girls do too.
Yeah.
Women do too. But it's a different dynamic there. I'll tell you a personal story about my breaking away from. My mother divorced my father before I was 2 years old. So I never really knew him. Saw him maybe three times in my life. Um, that's not the most powerful story. I did contact him. He was living in the Philippines years later when I was like in the
Wow.
30s. Yeah, living in the
Well,
Philippines. And um that was a powerful and a healing experience.
okay.
Um but the person, but because I wasn't living with him, he wasn't a factor in my life really
Yeah.
until I got older and realized, I need to have a dad,
Mhm.
So I went and looked for him, found him, and um, he said similar things. I'm sorry, and
Yeah.